All right. Hello, everybody. And welcome to the Sunday stream. I apologize for things being a little slower than usual. I started a 3D print that was supposedly going to be done like 10 minutes ago, and well, here we are. So, yep. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitch. We are back with some Roottrees because honestly, I've had a very long day, and my brain can't take any. Can I was about to say take a game that takes thinking, but this game is all about thinking. I can't take a game that requires fast reflexes right now because that part of my brain is shot. So we're gonna be making connections instead. See if we can get neurons firing before I go to bed. So we're jumping back in here with Rootree Mania. And honestly, just trying to remember where we were. We had new evidence. I remember that. Oh yeah, like a lot of evidence. Okay. Let's see. That Felix Fellows. Website known. Who has found recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as the long lost Rootree. His name was David. That's right. I could have sworn some. Yeah. David Fellows, right. Which means this should be, at the very least, Fellows. Like, that's how last names work. The question is, like, do we know his dad's name? I'm just jumping in. Oh, yeah, I remember. So, we know this is Rootree Ellis. We know that this is Guy Hudson, the man sloot. And then this was just updating the family tree. So the reason we know this is Miracle is because we got a picture of him, which means like this could only be Miracle, assuming that this deduction is correct. But it's in 1921, so like it has to be correct. So yeah. Anyway, we got information on. Well, obviously there's multiple affairs for him, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 affairs on him because he's a bad man. But we got information on, I want to say, like 2 different affairs. Which honestly means we probably... Oh, no. Okay, we have it sort of separated out. I need to put a date on this one. Let's see. I'm trying my voice. Anyway, sorry. I'm also looking for literally anything about his dad. I feel I like in the back of my head. I remember reading something about it, but like, unfortunately, his mom kind of took the easy way out, but nah, that's a mean way of saying it. Let's not say it that way. Took the... She did the thing. You know what I mean. She did the thing. Anyway, Riley and Joanne Fellows was born to Riley and Joanne Fellows. Okay, so this must be Riley. There we go. That's all I wanted to know. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure, like, we looked over and over, and we just know her name is Joanne. There's no mention of her by her last name. Otherwise, I'm pretty certain I would have put that there. Anyway, I need to review this information real quick. Or at least piece together. I think it'll be in this News Time article, right? Says that... Well... We know this was before. Does this have the... Jeez. Oh, yeah. This had the Miracle stuff where he was just a bad person. trying to see if there's like any dates on the stuff that we... Early to mid 70s. Okay, so like that, we know this is 1978. So this here is gonna be, we're just gonna put 1972, I guess, and we'll keep them in order. There we go. Okay. Okay. There you go. Company records, something, Mary Beth Clementine. Photo was given to you by Sam Madsen. A woman named Regina Clementine came to her and claimed that her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Roottrees. The details of this case can be found in your evidence. Stuart is the older boy wearing a vest. The woman in the photo is Mary Beth, a singer who may have had an affair with Miracle Roottrees. Okay, so Mary Beth Clementine. So we're just immediately gonna... So we're trying to prove that, right? Oh, Mary Beth Clementine, and we're just gonna assume musician, given that, you know, the clear. Came to her and claimed that her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Roottrees. That's not helpful. There's like a whole family tree here. And I assume that's going to be like dad. He's the older one here. He's the younger. Potentially. Okay, so Regina Clementine email. Oh, these, I believe, have websites connected to them. Or can, I should say. So. Don't. Okay. This is all the information I have about Regina Clementine, niece, I don't know, from New Orleans, Louisiana, and her husband Stuart Clementine. She wrote about a month ago. Apparently, the Roottrees lawyers went after her since then. By the time I received her letter and called her, she told me she wouldn't cooperate anymore. Her husband, who is a police officer, never knew his father. Oh, yeah. Miracle. And we'll do that there, but like his affair was in 1949 because he old. To be fair, he's one of the original 5 pieces, so like that makes sense. That's not the date. That is the date. Okay, never mind. My brain works sometimes. All right. I'm gonna highlight all of this because I don't know what this means. Well, maybe it's just... NIE is a way of providing information about someone who was originally called. It's often used to provide a woman's maiden name after her married name. Okay. She wrote about a month ago, got harassed. Her husband, who was a police officer and never knew his father, told her he thought he might be a Roottrees, but he's estranged from his family and didn't want to pursue it because he had no proof. She wrote to me behind his back. Normally I wouldn't be so sure, but she had some pretty credible facts. Some of it I've been able to confirm. Stuart's mother was Mary Beth Clementine. She was pretty well known in the 30s to 50s, a singer who went on tour to a lot of churches. Yeah, you can look her up online. Okay. That's good. And she was a pretty big proponent of adoption. That makes sense. Brain, please. I know for a fact that she came to Butler County a few times. I remember her from when I was younger, and Regina said that Stuart told her that they always seemed to spend a lot of time at Miracles Church. Oh, well, we really didn't need any I felt so smart last time, and they're literally just spelling it out right here. But, yeah, we'll move that. I need to be consistent with these tags. Holy crap. 1 second. 1949. Miracle. 1972. Which, like, I know 1972 is not accurate. It's just early 70s, so, like, that's what we're going with. Darn you. Actually, let's try to make this all one. Brain. There we go. Man, if my brain is this mushy tomorrow at work, it is going to be a rough day, guys. Rough day. Anyway. Oh, yeah. You too, Ellis. You gotta get fixed. There we go. Anyway. Mentioned a few times, she sent me a photo to prove she's who she says she is. I've attached it to this email, which is the thing I think we just looked at. So, we still have a lot more evidence here, but Stuart is the older boy with the vest. Okay. So Stuart is the older boy with the vest. Stuart. Okay, Stuart. Right. His last name's gonna be Clementine. This here is Regina Salazar. His occupation is a police officer. Okay. Sorry, I'm just double checking. So we only have, I think, 2 currently going on here. Singer who could have had. Oh boy. Okay, company records. 1975. 1975 is going to put us in this shoehorn here. Here. Oh my Lanta, I've played this game enough. This should not be a problem. Okay. Just checking. Yep. Okay, that's pretty substantial. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. You were given some partial staff records to cross-reference by Sam Madsen. These records are based on old tax mailing information and only detail the employees that work directly for Roottrees or in their corporate offices. Or corporate office. The many laborers of the farm and in their factories are not listed. You're not sure how helpful it will be, except for cross-referencing guys, secretaries, and visits overseas. Spider-searching people just because they are listed in this book will likely be very time-consuming and a waste of your time. Don't tell me what that means. That was... I don't know. I'm not making much sense today. It's fine. Leadership. Zach Morden, who was the president. Special management. Ernest M. Madsen Jr., Edward Roottrees, Lloyd Carpenter, Fred Cross, Douglas. Okay, like these names are going to be important, I assume. In fact, like this is early days. Oh wait, this is early days. I think this person, Joanne Robertson. Yeah, you can't pull one over on me, Robinson. Heck. Like, isn't there a photo of her? Company picnic? I have that picture. Oh, yeah, that's literally the picture. Okay, wait a minute. I'm just dumb. Should have. There we go. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. So we need one more person to like lock in. Anyway. Okay, that was helpful. So this is going to be no longer listed, but junior fellows. Yeah, this is just confirming what we see. Sometimes I wish they didn't do this. Like explicitly call out certain, and I understand that it's explicitly being called out amongst other things, right? And it'll eventually be helpful figuring certain things out. But like, it's not a deduction if you just tell me. It's replaced by earn. Oh, this is okay. So this one is helpful because like it'll kind of help figure out the secretary. So like this person was hired. This just tells us these two are no longer working here. So Beth Knox is probably another person, and in fact, in this one here, do I have another guy picture? I don't. Okay, I was curious. Oh, I can only assume that's her husband. One of the farm supervisors named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. Okay. Caterer for a local restaurant. Oh, right. There was like a whole Rachel Zimmer. Yeah, that's a whole bit, which we'll come back to. So this Beth Knox person, probably another important name there. Gwyneth Madsen, yeah. Wait, 1978. 1977, it was announced that Zach would be retiring. Guy would be taking over at the start of 1978. Oh, wait. My timeline's off then. I guess not necessarily. Okay. Christine, interesting. It's no longer listed among the secretaries, but yeah. In 1997, they're no longer listed. Same, but someone called Garland is. Okay. Wait, no, we just read that. Yeah, 1978. Christine Garland, no longer Roottrees. Beatrice Watts and something Swartz were hired. Julia The volatility continues. Many new employees didn't stick around very long. Yeah, because he's a dirty, dirty boy. Okay. Let's take a beat. Let's go back to, let's say, the 6 pieces. So that was the... Yeah. Because that was where all this stuff was coming from, right? Yeah. He's not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife because he did a lot of bad stuff. All right. Oh wait, no. 6 pieces was a book. So if we go to, actually we just go to history, right? Yeah. Okay. Details the truth about Alice Roottrees as well as Sam's father. Oh, we have the actual book in evidence. Sorry. Right. There it is. Okay. We do need to I just want to make sure. We do need to try to keep the timeline straight. So, Sam's book has a few different passages. She ran the farm from period around 1968 until her daughter took over. So, like, That's her range, and that puts her roughly in the guy Hudson info. Yeah, took over in 1978. Okay, well, there's 10 years before that, but open secret. Yep. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of his... Oh, okay, so this puts... Oh, I wonder why I have it... It would be... 79, because it's 1999, before it was 1998, so yeah. Farm supervisors... This led us to the Public Times article. Rochelle Zimmer. The Zimmers, sorry. That's Mark Zimmer. Wait, did I not search her name? That seems dumb. Oh, yeah, okay, but we did. Yeah, we did because we found the Steve Garland angle, right? Yeah. Sued by former... That's a Steve Garland bit. He had a book called Kitchen Tales, and that seems to be where we left off. So let's keep going down this rabbit hole, right? Kitchen Tales by Mark Zimmer. Mark Zimmer's Kitchen Tales, out of print, 1982. Okay, no copies available. Re-released as Garnishing the Truth. Oh, re-released as Garnishing the Truth. Okay. Cookbook credited to Garland and Zimmer. Okay. It was re-released in 1994. It was quite successful, the duo appeared to promote it on a daytime talk show, and there have been multiple printings since. According to a book review, the recipes are the stories. Okay, so it's him and who was Garland? Well, like, what was his full name? Oh, Steve Garland. Duh. No. Would be the and symbol. I can't reach the... Maybe it's their last names? Garland. And why do I keep blanking on his Chuckle Nuck's name? Zimmer? Zimmer and Garland. Oh, because... God... I'm searching the old title. That is why, and I should have took down the... Yeah. And that doesn't work. And, there we go. Polish 1994 nonfiction softcover. The introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgments from Steve the First Christine. Thank you. From Steve the First is Christine. Thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You're the apple of my eye. The second is to James and Robert. You've become amazing men and incredible chefs. The final is to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling approach to. Okay, so these are all for Steve. This is also a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in 1978 when he taught a cooking class. The next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really. Oh. So you might wonder what I'm doing in this introduction. Well, it turns out Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled at Clarence Brewhouse over a game of darts. They said they would give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. Oh. That seems relevant. I don't know. I think it's relevant because of the extra emphasis given in the text. I wouldn't think it's relevant otherwise. By the end of the game, he and I agree we both rather make a ton of money together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. It's pretty rare to meet your best friends so late in life, but when I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we can hang out. So if you're browsing this book in a bookstore, please buy our book. We need more money for when the free beer runs out in the bookstore. Could probably use the sales. Fair enough. Let's see. Okay, like I said, I think this is relevant. This is a weird rabbit hole. Yeah, it has a page. It's a pub in Boston, and they have a website. Apparently, the bar has been around for a long time. On the site, there's a list of famous people who have had a drink, including former presidents of the United States, not a fruit tree company, Kennedy. There's also a few listings of television shows and the books that have mentioned McLaren's, as well as how they came up. One of them is Garnishing the Truth, which is a site which the site has this to say: local and regular Stevie G. That's a horrible heart. Don't do that to people. And I keep forgetting Garland. Jesus. Wrote a book about food. We prefer cocktails, but he gave us a shout out, and we ain't gonna say no to free press. So grab a bite at his kid's joint, Fried Eye. And then swing by to meet him for a drink. Okay, we're just gonna do. Sorry, it's his kid's joint, Fried Eye. Fried Eye is a fairly popular restaurant in Boston. They don't have a website, but many locals seem to mention various places. Many locals seem to mention them in various places. One more in-depth review explains that it's not a full restaurant, just a front door and a very small interior with a window. Usually, the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. You also find a short story about it listed on a website, My Boston homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to just link to random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give their relatively short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. Hey, it's my brain. But if my brain was everything I think, and instead of just focused solely on Boston. It has this to say about Fried Eye. Wicked overall. I saw it in Chef's Signature. Okay. So I went there, was a huge line, and they didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? Because things can be delicious even if they're not meat. Okay. So a new periodical, Chef's Shibaba. And we're going to search Fried Eye. Oh, they got us something. Chef's Signature covered Fried Eye less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Each article in Chef's Signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine's name imply, each restaurant lists the one main dish that the chef's known for. Fried Eye Signature is samosa. Samosa cone. I do know what a samosa is, and they're fairly good. I think they're Indian food. Uncover in main article have been added to your inventory. Yes. Well. Click. Can a vegetarian diet be trendy? Absolutely. Well, okay, 1998, fair enough, but still. Chef Signature, a nationally published magazine target towards fans of unusual restaurants, features James and Robert Garland. Okay. No. Keep doing that. And Robert Garland on the cover in this issue. According to the article, the two brothers own a small walk-up window in Boston called Fried Eye, a play on tie-dye shirts that the servers wear. That is exclusively serves vegetarian dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. The signature dish is the samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles a traditional ice cream cone, complete with the waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and special ginger-based sauce. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, that helps, jokes that although the age difference was left him delegated to wear... Jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, he doesn't mind. Okay, well, we're just gonna have all of that in the blurb. Thank you. Can we just... Okay. Just keeps adding. Okay. As a result, James answers most of the interview questions. James credits his love for food and his culinary skills to their upbringing. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father was a chef, and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied his restaurant. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk, but they told me stories. My dad, a great storyteller, he even wrote a book that practically helped fund Fried Eye. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got off the ground. His line cook gig ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and he had to go back to work she had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. I'm going to have to review all of these notes. Even after Robert was born, before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with our aunt. In the diner where he worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he exercised his skills at home on his day off. We'd always go shopping and cook as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around causing a ruckus, those were some of our family's favorite memories since we were all together. Mom always had the eye for the best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass that on to us. According to the article, their parents, who are now retired, visit Fried Eye often. They even have a signature dessert, the Sistine apple. Apple pie has always been my mother's favorite, and my dad always had this stupid line he used to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realize it's a Sistine Chapel pun and assume that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's read through this, because this is a lot. So this started off as general notes about Guy. So he was a philanderer, one of Sam's farm supervisors. Elizabeth had a daughter who he never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. Actually, let's go back here. Confidential. So we're actually looking for Elizabeth. Want to probably take it back a little bit. Elizabeth. Hey, there we go. Okay. Book. Okay. Which means at some point her daughter was a secretary. I think. Susan, no. Secretaries. But she would have been married at some... Oh, wait, no. This is probably down here, right? Elizabeth Cravensworth. Okay. No. No. Wait. That's the secretary. I don't want that. Right, because... Very much not a fan. Sure. Elizabeth, Sam's farm supervisor. Which, here. That makes her that. Cater for a local restaurant called Met her daughter at that. They will quickly do it. Has it that her daughter showed up with Guy but didn't seem comfortable switching partners because they were swinging. Spending for that's Rochelle Zimmer. Okay. So her name would have been Rochelle? In the secretary spot? Am I just conflating things? It's like go back to being a secretary. Catherine Garnett. The secretary. Gillian Ingram, Linda Lunas, and Catherine Granite. I don't think her name was Granite, actually. Schwab. Linda Lewis. Ingram. This is all happening around here. It's been moved to office staff. It's no longer employed. Schwartz, Beatrice Watts, Linda Lewis, and Ingram. Catherine Grant. Okay, Okay, but this is still fairly early on, so it's got to be here, right? Sold the land and the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a thing. Responded, she and her husband Steve, who was a chef at there, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mom's farm. Christine Garland. Wait. I don't think I saw Christine in here either. Oh no, it's Christine Garland. Okay. Yeah, Christine. Okay, yeah. Yep. That does nothing for us, though. Well, I mean, it's Christine Maroon. I don't even know how to classify her job. Like she's a grocer or a farm. I guess it's a farmer. I don't know how better to describe that. But that seems not what they're going for. But no. She's not a farmer. Right. That's why she's on the feckin' list as a secretary. You married Steve. I guess Steven. Steven Garland. Okay. Which means you guys' name are both Garland and his tongue is ancient, and they're both. Is it just gonna be chef or cook? Sheaf. Okay. That brings us all the way down here. Christine, Sistine. Oh, okay. Ha. That's stupid. Um, okay, and it's the younger brother who wears the suit chef jacket, which means you're you. And then you're Robert. Oh. Hey, yeah, I forgot I had the other three. Okay, so that means we confirmed a decent amount. Booyah. Okay, so yeah, like we know that's... Okay, interesting. I didn't think about that. Wait, which four did it lock in then? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I guess Miracle was... Okay, so I guess she doesn't end as a musician. Because, like, all that's right. That has to be right. Anyway, this is Robert. That makes you James. Good old boy. The question is, like, we have this, but we don't have... we don't have the Depa Depa. We don't have the thing. This thing. Christine, Steve. It changes this ch for us, and it's or chur. Christine or Cri, and leave the steen and put the S. It's Sistine. It. Anyway. Okay, so like that gets us that, but like again, I don't know how we get the other stuff. I don't know what we do with that. Yeah, it's weird we don't have anything there. Right? Like, I'm not crazy? I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I have this bug flying around, and it's super, super annoying. Okay, that actually all comes from, like, the 6 pieces. The Roottrees Rift, I don't think we've started. Oh, no, the Roottrees Rift was the, like, bumbling of a whole bunch of communications. Yeah. Where somebody kind of, like, tried to take the reins. Okay, we got one in the bank here. I'm curious why this was wrong. Let me look her up. Let me try to find an easy way to look her up, actually. Mary Beth Clementine. Also, jumping back here. Oh, it's because this guy's name is Clementine, and that is not her maiden name. Okay, that's probably... She is a... I don't know why my brain went to singer. She's a musician, but we don't know her last name. Possibly her first name, but... Mary Beth Clementine was a singer most popular in the years between 1942 and 1959. She traveled among the country performing at churches. Her repertoire was a mix of religious and popular songs. And although she recorded a few records, they seemed lost to time. The only one you find mentioned was a cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hand, released under the new label, under the label New Edison. Okay, this is info for you. Because somehow I'm sure that's going to be relevant. One thing Mary Beth was known for was her adoption. She listed on many sites that mention adoption and the history of adoption. She adopted 2 children in the late 1940s, Stuart and Mark. I'm just going to come over here. Hello, Mark. Clementine. You're probably old at this point. Absolutely, you're old. She also speaks as an advocate for the benefits of adoption in front of the United States Congress in 1949, who were convening to debate and discuss the then recent first adoption of an African American child to a white family in the United States. Well, she was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, and according to a single line on one under unusual circumstances. Dun dun dun. 1959, it surfaced that Mary Beth had been twice divorced, both times to her manager Sterling. Okay. This ended her career with a religious audience she had been catering to, and while she performed occasionally since then, she mostly faded into obscurity. Mary Beth passed away in 1949 of a stroke. Okay. We're going to go to periodicals, and we are going to go to Butler Times here to search for... Actually, can we search? Where's the... No. We're going to... Actually, I want to search this. A small record label based in Los Angeles that existed for a few years in the 40s. It raced to release cover records of songs that were gaining in popularity. According to a website about the history of recorded sound, it was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame is being sued by the estate of Thomas Edison in Edison Records versus Edison. You can find a few references to New Edison and Mary Beth Clementine. Also, I'm just going to highlight this so I have something to copy from. One collector says the Holy Grail is a re-release of the Old Rugged Cross and says that the first edition was originally published before she legally changed her name. Okay, so we got to find that. Another site claims that the police had to call the New Edison Records after its owner, that Sterling Edison, got in a physical altercation in public, leading to a divorce. There is no cited source or evidence, and the site's content seems user submitted. There's an email address at the bottom in the phrase, "Send me your stories about old Hollywood and I'll add them to the page." Okay. Let's search. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Curious though. I wonder how you get that then. I want to go here and search Mary Beth Clementine. Clementine came to Butler County a few times and played religious hymns at Miracle Congregation Church. She was mentioned 2 times, though the first visit in 1949 was significantly more substantial. Words. With open arms, the article mentions the church leaders was moved when he heard the recording of his favorite hymn, His Eyes on the Sparrow, and reached out personally. His Eyes on the Sparrow holds a very special meaning. As you know, it's I had a very different upbringing. It's no secret to my own eyes have always been a source of struggle. The song is about overcoming sadness and hardship to Jesus. If God can find a way to even to watch over every sparrow, he can certainly watch over those made in his image. My family's fortune does me no good as a man of the Lord. It's much better spent spending his word, and I felt a kinship with Mary Beth ever since I heard her voice. When I learned her personal story, I knew I had to help her in whatever way I could. The Bible is full of adoptions, from Moses to Esther, spending her life taking care of the helpless to help those helpless to help themselves is incredibly noble. She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest house. So you can bangity bang. I said bang bangity bang. The second visit was a few years later in 1953. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success, and at the insistence of Miracle's congregation, she returned for an encore performance. It also mentions that the unusual circumstance of her second son's adoption have prevented her from touring recently, but doesn't clarify. Okay. Interesting. I doubt she'll be in modern music. Oh, hey, was reviewed and advertised many times in this, but the most popular was a release cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. It was released under the label, okay. A very positive review of the cover, and the writer complimented her voice and the tone of her guitar. He has nothing much to say about Mary Beth herself. So it's there were some other Mary Beth Clementine releases. One of them was this, which is the only song that was advertised but not reviewed. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think how we would get Business Watch, News Time, Screen. No. Maybe Starlight? Didn't think so. Okay. Teen Blast. She's hot with the kids now. Okay. Interesting. I'm very curious how we get this then. Like, because typically when you come across this, it would just print it out or something. But, I mean, the unusual circumstance, right, is it's going to be Miracle's baby. But we don't know. Well, I guess we can search up Mark Clementine, right? Mark Clementine. Yeah. Crocodile Clementine is listed on a website called the Infamy List. It's a massive list of criminals who are known for odd crimes, although Mark's nickname would imply he hails from Florida. A lot of others on the list come from there or Australia. Mark is listed as being from Los Angeles. He was a pretty big entry, but seems like a real... He has a pretty big entry. He seems like a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of the 1950s. But most everything else comes from his adulthood. He lost his job in 1975 as a pilot after he tried to board the wrong airplane. He was drunk, charged with trespassing and assault. In 1982, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian and Mexican borders for an illegal reptile supplier in Los Angeles. He was apparently quite successful for the first 4 years, but was caught when he had to make an emergency landing in Portland after he was bitten on the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. Apparently, the Portland Telegraph is credited for having given him the nickname. His mugshot has been added from SF. Interesting. In 1993, he was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in 1994, so he's probably still in jail for violating an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He famously punched the principal, a man named Billy Sims. This incident received national blah, blah, blah. Rough life, buddy. Rough life. I guess that means you're... what do you put? Actor, advertise, like, do we put pilot? He's not a pilot. Secretary, retail, public speaker, professional, preacher, politics, police officer. I guess I question putting his name as pilot, but nurse, news anchor, musician, model, military, media mogul, mechanic, manufacturing, lawyer, interior designer, housewife, firefighter, farmer, driver, doctor, dancer, I guess he is a pilot. Like, even as a criminal, he was a smuggler. So, man, rough life. An idiot, but rough. Billy Sims. Billy Sims is the principal of Sandstone Canyon High School, who has 15 minutes of fame in 1994 when he was punched at a graduation. Pretty much every news organization, from trustworthy to tabloids, seem to have their own take on the altercation. That's important, like the tabloids, so we can check the tabloids. Oh, we need to search. Actually, we need to search this too. Yep, that's the only reason I want to do that. A Mill newspaper based out of Portland, Oregon. They have a website of dry statistics. I'm subscribe. Okay, just want to make sure. It wasn't the punch that captured the nation's attention, however. It was Billy Sims' matter-of-fact response to the the threat and his comments afterwards as heard in now famous audio clips from someone who's recording the ceremony. Billy saw Mark hop onto the graduation stage and said, "Sir, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem." At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker punched him in the face. And Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "All right, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." There you go. Tried to throw a punch, but Sims anticipated and performed a maneuver in spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with backwards somersault, which immediately brought both men to the floor, with Sims straddling Clementine, keeping him neutralized. As security arrived, the report captured someone asking, "How do you do that?" Responded, "Was famous, trust me, I'm as surprised as anyone." That's all fine? Well, okay, but he went and, like, punched him. But, like, he was going to see his granddaughter. I would assume he's... Hampateva? Oh, okay, well... We're just gonna highlight this for now, but... Oh, his daughter's graduation, sorry. So, it's one of those. We'll have to get more information on that. Let's see. The Portland Telegraph, we're gonna look for... Oh. I didn't mean to spider search that, but okay. So I have a few true stories focused on around religion. Mentioned Mary once found herself dealing with a real-life baby Moses situation. That's a connection. Was really prominent supporter of the concept of adoption. Someone decided to test how much. They left a baby on her doorstep in a basket, according to the site. According to the sites, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Although it wasn't national news in many circles, he became known as the basket baby. Yep. And the websites state who the woman or baby were, likely to prevent people from looking into either of the people too closely. For context, you know that it's Mary Beth, who would later be shunned due to her personal life, and her son Mark. Okay, yeah, don't tell people that. That's clear. Also, I need to search this real quick because she fell out of favor twice. Sterling. Right, that's why it's her manager Sterling. And it's in her manager, who also opened the label of New Edison, was in fact Sterling Edison. Okay. So this dude can't be Sterling Edison? No, I guess his name has to be Sterling though, right? And we know we need to find that. We're not allowed to do this until they're verified, which is annoying. We know he has a daughter, which will become relevant later. But that's some stuff filled in there. That leaves us going back to the list of big things right now. Present. Right, new. Many description of him. Marital status, yep. Since taking over, Clark has tried to remain out of this probably I don't want that on the page, sorry. Oh, okay, so this is a new page. The Clash Trunk's unusual legal arrangement and the motivation is to recap: the entire family earned their inheritance, as well as the sisters. Yeah. The Clancy Trust came under Sam and her children. Meh. Who handles it for them now? Oh, there it is. Ruby Legal Enterprises. Like, this is important, but we're gonna put that here. And we're also going to search this. Ruby Legal Enterprises is the name of the firm that has been hired by the Roottrees Candy Company. The company is named after the head lawyer, Ruby Sprague. This is probably going to end up being important. You can't find much about the company from before this year, though all the articles tell the same tale after the fiasco of 6 Pieces and the revelation, I don't even know what that word was that I just said, that the Roottrees internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up. They hired outside counsel. Now seems to have ties to multiple aspects, including Candy Company and Root. They recently, interesting, raised against this person. We're just going to make a new page for this person for right now until they've been proven without a doubt not to be important. So, well, first off there, 1979. Portrait of a Changed Man. Okay. Her follow-up, Foreign Gospel, did not perform well critically, but sold quite respectively. Okay. She has written a few more books since then, including a biography of Van Gogh, I don't know. But her first 2 were her claim to fame. According to the site about authors, Sisley is known for her non-fiction, which focuses on exploring darkness in the human psyche. Recently, appears in a magazine called... article about a book she had been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson. Interesting. The magazine and herself were immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. Ooh. Get out. That's not right. That's not correct Spanish, rather. The issue was pulled from the source, making it an instant collector's item. Okay. Public library, please. Portrait of a Changed Man. Whoop. Oh, well, this probably isn't going to work, right? Because, like, out of print, what if everything you stand for, everything you know to be true today could disappear in an instant? All of your politics relations gone in a blink of an eye. What would you... Tells a powerful true story about a man who woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool and became an entirely different person, including... Okay. Sure. Foreign Gospel, though. So that didn't seem to give anything useful. Oh, son of a biscuit. Also tells the tale of the Catholic Church. Okay, this... Yeah, there's nothing really there. But there was the magazine that she showed up in, right? This one. So if we search this... Oh, no. Magazine? Question mark? Oh, okay. That, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It tends to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider audience, a wider variety of audiences, and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, it doesn't typically feature celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, this has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye images, and even Red Bull. It has often come under fire for printing fiction, along with fact. Gets around this by saying in every issue that all the articles are all the hearsay that's fit to print. Holy crap. At one point, ran an article about this person, an author she claims to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article was not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally by that particular issue. The Big Sass Seabass issue was pulled from shelves. It has now become a collector's item, especially among the conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what the Roottrees company was hiding. You find it recently that lists a copy for over $1,000 and nobody bid on it. Okay. So that takes us to them. We're going to search for this. In an issue that focuses on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly says in the batteries around low. Is there more conspiracy pages? I hope there's more conspiracy pages. Has Had an article about a canceled book, subject of Guy Hudson, and the issue taking a picture that did not have the rights to publish. Because of the pictures, this issue was pulled from shelves, making it the subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to this recall, the version found in the archives is incomplete. Beelzebub. Exclusive. This issue is the thing. Contained an article about that. The story concerns about an unreleased book. Seems that it used photos of Guy that did not have. Unfortunately, the magazine was issued a cease and desist. The magazine was pulled from shelves, and the version you find in search had the relevant pages removed, rendering. Well, about the demon fish though. So that's that. But then, is this just going to give us the same thing? In an issue that focused on talking fish toy. Yeah, okay. Huh. Well. I'm kind of stuck on that one, so in the meantime, I want to see if we can find anything about this this fish. That's not how you spell that. Demonic fish. Oh. Fish. Nope. Fish toy. No. Basil. Bub. No. What did it have on the thing? Basil. I want to read about the demonic fish toy. Bass. E-L bub. It's pointing to conspiracies, right? So let's do Roottrees curse. Spell curse correctly. During your initial search, you came across Thomas Overwood's conspiracy page about the Roottrees. 8 months later, the page still exists and is thriving. The visitors counter has reached 7 digits. Many older articles have been replaced. It seems that the recent uprising in Roottrees news has left Thomas Overwood with a constant stream of events to base new theories on. More than one of his theories involves Roottrees deaths being fake. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have died in a family, the odds are that one of them faked their death. It's just math. That's okay. The newfound focus on death faking seems to coincide with a post mentioning that he begun believing that Guy's not dead theory. In his own words, my eyes have been opened, and all of this is beginning to make too much sense. One of the post details the belief that Ron Roottrees is still in charge. Gwen's Roottrees death was faked, and that Clark is only there to throw people off. Apparently, this allowed Ron to travel to France to develop a new candy recipe in secret. Another is about the rapper who he can't possibly be a Roottrees. One of his first album songs, he was performing under the Devil name, actually mentions that he wanted to have sex with Rihanna. Huh? Not even Sam Manson is spared, according to the author of Six Pieces Isn't Real, is an anagram for Am Madness. possibly leaving hints. They're purposefully leaving hints. He claims that by using 6 pieces with Laura Roottrees' book as a one-time pad, he has begun to decrypt a cipher. Most of the cipher has seemed meaningless, but he managed to pick out words, people, and vastness, and is working on figuring out what it means. There are also requests at the bottom. Next year, 2000, is a leap year, and Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch the Roottree red-handed in Operation RT-29. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you've ever drunk Sprite Cola, but he doesn't go into why. Okay, but let's figure this one out here. Hey. Wait. Okay. The Guy's Not Dead conspiracy theory from a website that focuses on clues that the Rootrees have supposedly hid all over the place. This includes on candy wrappers, in print advertisements, in the television commercials, in their jingles, etc. This is weird because I just wanted to find stuff out about the demonic bass toy. But anyway, the story according to the website is that Guy Hudson was a terrible president of Roottree. I think that's true if I remember right. And include multiple failed products. Yes, okay, yeah, it is true. Like caviar flavored candy, that's awful. Something needed to be done that would put the company immediately and instantly back in the favor of the consumers. So they killed off Guy Hudson and replaced him with a new president. This move immediately garnered sympathy, and the company recovered the next year, more popular than ever. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight, and some people even theorized that he was simply Guy Hudson in an elaborate disguise, which is why he stopped appearing in public. The people who run the site are asking for help. They're certain that there's a clue to all of this. All of this actually leaked in a banned article from... Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this goes here. Oh. Okay, so that's the unredacted article, and then we have this. This photo is the first from a magazine interview with the issue of the thing that came from was pulled from the shelves. Managed to find out. Does not label its individual photos. Both photos were instead under the shared label. Was provided these photos by the Roottrie Candy Company for use in her book. So that's Guy. That's... Oh, we're gonna have to read the article to get the context. Okay. Hey, you have a face. You have a face. Okay. So one of these is going to talk about a Christmas party. Author who was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to have been paid we're back to Guy here. You claim to have been paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was the president for a short period at the end of the 70s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually, the last night of 1978. Guy liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of Changed Man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party, and they courted me to talk about a book. This was the first time anyone recognized me for my work, and I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but then none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop, chop, snip, snip. Anything which even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up as gonzo. What is the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to 2 traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of great Ellis Roottree, the great Ellis Roottree. And second, he'd never been satisfied living his life. He'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. He had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women, but he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers? Really? Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Ellis Roottree was boring as all hell and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book the Roottrees legacy with Ellis on the cover. The last time he and I met. He even switched out his orange suits for the same green ones Ellis wore. And remember fancy flavors? Guy knew that part of Ellis's legacy was the 5-piece flavors, so that's why Guy tried to do too. Caviar was a disaster, but it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. And in Christmas 1979, he went to Brazil to open the Roottrees Brazil factory. Guy was always hopping across the world trying to recreate that success. Okay. And then if we come down here... wait. No, that was over here. Never mind. I was thinking because of... wait, who the frog had the Spanish name? It was over here, right? Yeah. So yeah. That was a Spanish name. Never mind. Don't you worry about blank. You let me worry about blank. Still useful information. So how come the book never came out? It's complicated. It had an out. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it by anybody in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, but Guy still got the content after I left. It probably got a lot harder to convince any real publishers to give it their time. He was president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family very wisely put a stop to it. Mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big, shiny, embossed letters. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count, and the narrative was torn to pieces. No thanks. The dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage, and we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress Susie something. He sent his mistress Susie something into the bathroom to proposition me. Okay, this was a little bit afterwards, though. Yeah. So actually, we're gonna add this. This is 1981. Susan. Oh, I just gave myself chills. Points if you know what I'm talking about. Poor girl, I remember her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he died soon after. Woof. Yeah, he dies pretty early, so like I need to figure that out again. I remember him from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyway, he died soon after. What can you tell us about the family? Any insights into the scandals about the recent book? I actually haven't read it. I just skimmed the sections on Guy to see why people were suddenly calling me to ask me about the man. I'd say he did well for... I'd say she did well for what she had to work with. She only had rumors, whereas I spent time tailing him. Something... Oh my god. Sometimes he knew, sometimes he didn't. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottrees Brazil, but I actually had people on him when he went to Australia, France, and China too, when he met with someone. I'd figured out... I don't know why reading is hard for me tonight. Holy crap. I'd figure out who they were and how they were involved. Doubly so if the meeting happened when he didn't want me to be around. Despite his best efforts, I got the whole truth, including things even his family never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia. I think her name is Robin. He, he and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his, but I did. The daughter of his business partner. Okay. Manson got things wrong. Sam mentions guys' affairs and treats them like most people who logically think to treat them, like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. Words. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't to talk. It was, if you get my meaning. Wait. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't to talk. If you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality, it was more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it. The same thing. What was that? I'm assuming I only have to spell it out so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Okay, Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Guy, on the other hand, was seen in a traditional marriage, and at the same time, he could bet any woman that he found charming. I can assure you that was exactly the type of marriage he was interested in. Okay, well, that's interesting. Not overly so. Okay. So it's the first from a magazine interview. This photo is the first from. It's 1 and 2. I mean, from what we know, like, it's... Well, I don't know that. It's his normal red suit. But we know that affair took place in 1979, which I think was on page 1. Do I have a picture of his wife? Was that ever, like, explicitly mentioned? Brain? No. Okay. I'm just clicking buttons now. Great. Okay, she's carrying 2, so, like, I guess she's taking these 2 people? That begs the question, who's he? Oh, wait. He's probably the... Okay. Right? Yeah. I'm clicking buttons again. In 1981. So this is them talking again, but she was trailing him to do the thing in 1970 something, which is roughly this time period. This is a weird moment, but Christine Garland is no longer working. No longer employees. Wait, so she was hired, no longer listed, no longer employees, no longer listed amongst... Okay, but she was it's hard to tell, but there's two of them. But we can. I'm assuming because of stuff that she was the secretary. She's the secretary and was the secretary at the time. I do think the other people were probably part of the like Roottrees, or well, one of these is for Brazil. One of them is for the. Oh, do I have another picture of Guy Hudson? I have multiple pictures of Guy Hudson. Okay. Can't do that picture. I don't know who these two gentlemen are, but they must be the husbands of somebody that. Well, there's one down here. Wait, right? Yeah, he liked women, so this must be a husband, which means whoever this is has to be that picture. I don't know who it is, but it has to be there. Okay. The question is, how do we continue on from there? Well, I guess we could search this Roottrees Brazil. Don't start with me, game. I'm pretty sure that's how you spelled it. You know what? No, eat me. 1 second. Oh, yeah, I do want to look up the loot. Actually, let's. Oh, right. Few copies of the original, but it was recently republished by the same publishing company that printed the diary. It seems to wish to capitalize. I don't know if this still has relevant information. Oh, it's got something. A reprinting of an old book from Alice Roottrees. It's blatant corporate propaganda. Lovely. Okay, well, that's how we get that. Oh, well. Guess that works. Yeah, okay, we got... Oh. Okay, so that photo's wrong.
Sam reached out to me finally. I think I have you to thank for that one. My family's in a bit of a rough patch. Even though the candy is selling better than ever, everyone is fighting over the trust. The majority of us want to dissolve it. On paper, it seems like the right decision. The arguments about what to do next are endless and heated. More than a few Roottrees are worried about losing their wealth. I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else. I love my family, my wife, my daughters, even my son, who I hardly ever get to see. I want to keep them safe and secure. But I didn't do anything to deserve this fortune. Hell, I probably deserve it less than most. It took me way too long to get my life together. Okay, enough about me. Here's the deal. I can't stop the majority from voting one way or another. If you keep passing along potential Roottrees, I'll keep adding them to the list. On the other hand, there's been some leaps forward in genetics. It may sound like science fiction, but we can actually determine who's in the family just by testing their DNA.
Yeah.
What you've done so far has been very useful. Just keep filling out the tree and we'll prepare for the tests.
That wasn't any new information. I got scammed. Okay. I forgot that that was sitting there. Okay, so that's all good. So we got 2 of those done. This is apparently not a picture, which seems strange. Because, like, an affair can't produce kids if it's 2 guys. Um, unless they started putting in oh, is that just Zach? No, because it's got to be Zach. I mean, young Zach. I'm gonna put him in there. I should have put him in there, but like, what's Zach doing in here? Because like, oh, okay, that's cheeky. That's probably to get the 100% crowd, or at least dumb people like me who would never have thought to look up there. Okay, so you have to be whoever this is, which means more than likely you're this person. I don't know who that person in the back is, but okay. Well, okay, but that does narrows it down. So like the Brazil stuff is going to focus in on this tree here. So, is there anything of you? The dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased and misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. If they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. The book tells you nothing new about Ellis, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about Ellis either. The reissue of the book was so lazy that they reused the famous photo from Business Watch, whose copyright had expired. The best thing it has going for it is that it's only 85 pages long. I'm curious what the one intuition is here, then. Family Man, the Roottrees Legacy? Like, it's... I don't know. 2 bits here yet. Anyway, let's start going into... Roottrees Brazil, sometimes erroneous, and we're going to do... okay, I think this might be in here. Roottrees Brazil, sometimes erroneously, starting to get game, is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candies. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative. I'm just gonna highlight that because that's gonna come back. Unlike some of the other Roottrees Everywhere results, Roottrees Brazil seemed to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. My voice. Brazil was the only region in which caviar flavored 5 pieces released at the end of 1978 were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create the flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5 pieces bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named near the municipality of I'm not trying to make people mad. I'm not going to read that. Became the location chosen by the Roottrees Candy Company after a newly elected politician named Edson Soares heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas. There we go. And managed to break ground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly, except for 2 instances. The first was do Bordeaux in 1982, and the second was an unsuccessful strike in 1995 that involved all the factory workers being replaced. Jesus. The factory was originally built and run, according to a newspaper at the time, by a small company called New Brazil Candy Corporation. This company no longer exists. Not much information has ever existed about it. The Roottrees now run that entirely. Okay. So, obviously, the next part here is going to be, let's take a peek up your skirt. Brazilian politician, you find a dissertation published by a college student as part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems that until 1988, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during the time were often a hotbed of corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at the time, including Soares. Edson is a former mayor of that place. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. Words. He was put in charge of the thing by the military government in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in there. It had to first, he became quite rich. Second, many focals were forcibly relocated. This did not make him a popular mayor in what papers speculate was a move to counteract his unpopularity. His wife, Sonia, was discreetly put in charge of a television station called That. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 1988 when he was defeated in the first election after the military government. Military government was no longer in control after the election. He quickly left town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he fled to stay alive. Okay, so now we're going to search for wife. Because if she was in control of... Okay. There's not seem to be anything relevant by the name of the list anywhere. However, Spider Search did return a page that lists a news anchor in the name Flavio Flap Soares, who has a mother name. Oh. Flavio Soares is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. This discourse surrounding him... Well, hold up. We're going to read this, but... To Natasha, kisses from Brazil. Sign photo of him. Okay, so if we come here... Oh, that just put all of this together for us, right? Yeah, here... Flavio Soares, news anchor. Your Soares. Learn to spell, you idiot. That's your first name, though. I've already forgotten your first name, which is why I have a notebook. Hudson Soares. And I don't actually know. I guess you're a media mogul or a politician? One of the two? Question mark? Anyway. Speaking of which, do I have any open spots? Yeah, I don't know who you married, which is going to be relevant later. But no, this is starting fresh on, and these are all going to be worth 2 if I get everything. Well, I'm going to have to get it eventually, but there's a newscast, but cult following. The discourse surrounding him is, put in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about something called fan fiction that has a small section dedicated to him. It seems that women and some men of a wide variety of ages and writing skills tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn that a common trend in his dating trend is that he's currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. Okay, that'll probably be... Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. Oh, no. There's also other more traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, 18, his zodiac sign Libra, his favorite food, his mother's name. Also, it seems that translates to golden hair. One website has a fine... Okay, so that's how you get the thing. So there's two names that we can probably search. They're both relatively young. Oh, okay. British model appeared on the cover of Wearing a Fur Shaw 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't lead to any useful information, but the more recent appearance mentions that she's dating this person. In it, a Team Blast reporter asks how they met. I was in Rio for a carnival, and he was on one of the parade floats. I had no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my parents to invite him to a party I was going to. I felt pretty stupid once I realized we were going to his party, well, his mother's party. She ran a media empire down there called that. So we're gonna search that, but we're gonna. You're a media mogul. That's who you are, and your name is Sonia, but I do not know your last name. Massive media group owned and run by mysterious woman Alves. Okay, so well that solves that mystery. I don't know if reading the rest of that's going to be worth it, but let's dive in. It seems Sonia Alves is a common name in Brazil, so she has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. Jesus. According to the history page that focuses on her company and vague on searchable details, she's assuming inheritance in the 1980s. Wow, brain. Significant inheritance in 1980 and invested in many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown, Brazil. At the same time, she begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. Yeah, okay, so this is just confirming she's the person we think she is. She continued to work in television until 1988, when Brazil began its period of reform. She felt this was a perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment and connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. After doing some translating, the page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She does not appear at shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. In other words, she is actually afraid for her life. So, okay. Okay, so yeah, that's them, but that also brings up, because there's like a couple other things, right? So we're gonna search Roottrees everywhere initiative. Sorry, my full thought process that I did not finish was he had an affair in Brazil, and then the other lady listed Australia. Well, Australia for sure, but a couple other places, right? Yep, Australia, France, and China too. Okay, so that's what we're looking for here. Roottrees Everywhere was an expansion in the late 1970s, coincided with some other large changes at the companies and had mixed successes. As far as you can tell, the different companies related to it were all formed in very different and sometimes haphazard ways. There's minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you glean the following. Roottrees Candy Company has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Ellis as early as the 1940s. This includes places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees Everywhere involved Roottrees' expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with four that it had no share in: Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Brazil, I'm assuming China and France. Or I guess it matters the timeline. Australia, France? No. Well, wait, there's not enough room, so one of those is getting cut out. Each of the countries had an entirely new company formed, mostly by making deals with local distributors. Roottrees Oz. It's one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative. According to history site, 1979, summer of 1979. Charles Martin, who owned the company to manufacture liquors in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed the American leadership. Kay had some success, but only in certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 1992 after the death of Martin, and now serves as an importer in. Okay, so Charles Martin. No, stop it. Candy manufacturer in Australia, born in 1923. He had a popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. Most of his history is unrelated to the Roottrees. However, in 1979, he helped develop Roottrees Oz. He used his own wealth to build a new factory, and they distributed the maple treats through the same methods he had already been using for his previous candy venture. A website about Australian commerce mentions that he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottrees company in the U.S., much like how the Glance Trust distributed the profits from the Roottrees company evenly to the Roottrees family. The profits of Oz would be split 50-50 between Roottrees and Martin himself for him to do with what he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, but also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially towards the end of his life in the 1990s. Roottrees candy gained a poor reputation in Australia, and sales suffered immensely. Charles' vast fortune was belonged to his daughter, who sold the Robin Martin, because he was slinking around with this person. Okay, but I don't know where in the timeline that happens. Nope, bring that back up. I'm just curious if we search for her name. Is featured in many of the top 100 wealthiest women in the world list. She owns a private island off the coast of Australia where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. She has no husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor somewhere in the mid-70s that she had a medical procedure to ensure she would never have children. You find a joke on the site called Edgy Jokes that implies that she's quite promiscuous and has a punchline involving Robin's eggs. For what it's worth, Martin seemed to lean into the rumors. In the 80s, she once showed up at a charity function with three very attractive men each wearing a shirt that said simply "satisfied partner" on it. So, is this maybe a starlet thing? I don't think so. Yeah. Business Watch. Sold off her father's assets in 1992, the year after he died, which combined with her inheritance immediately catapulted her to an almost unimaginable level of wealth. The writer at Business Watch, who were assigned to report on this news, seemed to disapprove of this move immensely. While the article does touch on the announcement of who took over the licorice division, as well as what was to become of the maple candy factory, the entire text seems to be dipped with contempt that someone would be willing to dismantle and gut such a successful company to earn a quick buck. The article ends with a dig at Robin's personal life and lack of traditional values, but who am I to judge? Maybe she sold it to ensure a better future for her own child. Oh, wait. Oh. That's confusing. I guess she's not relevant. Because she can't have kids. That's everything we're reading. Or that's what we read. She can't have kids. I'm just curious because, like, okay. Okay. No. Go back to everywhere. We did Brazil, so let's look up China Roottrees. China Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute the candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees thing during the late 70s. China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies. The Roottrees company decided to pounce. Leng Hog, I'm sorry, who was said to personally win over the Roottrees family, was the owner of multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients and build a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk unpackaged Roottrees candy and labeled it for not only China but additional markets. Okay, and this is a guy. That's what I was looking for, but still, good history. Roottrees, China. Hobo who... I shouldn't do that because I shouldn't say things because then I call someone who's not a hobo. Anyway, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters. And his brother took control upon his death, and after he died... Okay, this actually sounds like the most important bit here. Oldest child in the... textile company, when the company... it's a company that helped expand Roottrees production in China. The company seems very... very accomplished. Their site quotes many different... Dude. Oh, right, and the way they have their stuff set up, it's last name first, first name last. The company seems very accomplished. Their site has quotes from many different reporters and news articles listed on it. In nearly every language, it's almost mentioned quite often on websites about Chinese businesses, but those mentions are company-focused and not people-focused. Their page contains a very rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove that the company has been in the Lang family for a long time. It kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back at least 250 years in some form or another. During the period where they began the Roottrees deal, that Lang in China, the family name comes first, so yes, I know, was the CEO. He died before the internet was widespread, so there's not much out there. Featured on the history section during the volume, there also seems to be only mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman listed as Xing the site doesn't list her last name, though. She does appear to be in a family tree below Hongbo. There's quite a few American logos on his page. One is the Roottrees logo. One is... Okay, we're probably going to need all of that in a second, but... we're going to go ahead and search this person. There you go. In China, the name... stop saying that. She's originally listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article, entitled Empowered, is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. States that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister. Okay. CEO of the family company in 1992 after her was deemed unfit due to mental deterioration. Move was some of them. The article doesn't say how many. Quit and wrote a letter saying that basically she's a woman. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. The article roughly translates it as someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions as an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. There is unsourced pictures in the article. It says that it's from 1992 when she took over. She was 45 at the time. It's been added to your evidence. Okay. There's a couple of other things. Yeah, so she, right, according to this. Well, IVF helped her sister have a child, so that's not necessarily has a child. Yeah, down here. Is a play on tranquil and quilts. The name is iconic considering they're the loudest quilts you've ever seen. The main quilt featured is a flaming unicorn story. Yep. Though they're listed on the site, they don't seem to have much. Okay, so they're not worth anything. Piece of Asia. Don't highlight, search. Piece of Asia is the American arm of Langtai. I don't know. Okay, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to their site, the Times, it translates to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of other companies listed here, too many to investigate, as well as a few of them seem to have any relevance. They offer fabrics and clothes wholesale. You don't spot anything out of the ordinary. The business is said to be owned by husband and wife Jerry and Linda Hahn. Japanese listed to and from an online translator. Okay. But chances are their American name is better to search. Yep. Jerry, Linda, and Mark Hahn. Wait. We're just gonna do this one. That's bad. Focus on philanthropy under the headline "Hanging with the Hans." The Hans were chosen because they donated significantly to causes that further Chinese American culture. Jerry and Linda were both in China and fell in love during college. Linda's father led a large company. Yeah, okay, Lang Xiao. Whatever, how you would pronounce that. And that is most likely her sister. We're both in China and fell in love. After it expanded to the U.S., Linda's father approved their marriage so long as Jerry took over the U.S. portion business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is like something out of that. I was absolutely terrified to move to the United States, but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall and was obsessed with Robert Redford. But somehow Jerry and I were the ones sent here, and now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and thrived there. She doesn't even like visiting the U.S. anymore. Our kids, okay, are complete opposites. Oh, okay, her kid, your kid, got it. So Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad as soon as he was old enough. He's actually in business school in China now. Working with my sister, our niece, who grew up there, was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school and flew out here as soon as she graduated. The name change absolutely drove my sister loco. Well, Lucy Lang. Just keep digging. Just keep digging. Search. Thank you. Lucy Ling is not exactly a common name, but it's not the most uncommon you've come across either. There are a few that come up with any searchable details, so it might be possible to narrow it down. Mentioned on a robotics website as part of Team Talon Claw. Team Talon Claw are one of the only 2 teams in the U.S. participating on a new robot-based show. Probably not. Another Lucy, small woman Capella group. Business for corporates. Okay, wait a minute. That's high school. I mean, if the jump is supposed to be the Chinese person likes robotics, that's gonna annoy me slightly, but Mid-Eastern University, the robot, also called Talon Claw, was selected for appearance. On the second season of the British television show focused on robot fighting, a small blurb mentions that the robot fighting league have existed for a few years, but there have been recent moves to televise it. Talon Claw was one of the 2 teams selected from the U.S. Has a text-only site you can find linked to the university student section. The site says that it's used mostly to announce, but the last 8 days have all been canceled because a few members of the team are currently in the supporting member. Okay. I don't think that's actually relevant, but we are going to search it. Noble private college that advertises itself as midway between Maine and Miami. Their mascot is the Spectres, although they are not known for their sports program as much as their education. Their legal and language departments are the pride and joy, though they also have fairly extensive computer science and robotics programs. Yep. Along with other prestigious schools, they haven't quite reached the notoriety of Ivy League schools. Some refer to them as Little Ivy. The college has embraced this and called their which is a combination of the scientific name for Ivy and Herald. But that's going to be like a periodical, right? Yeah. Okay. So if we go to the periodical here, which I've already forgotten the name of, there we go, and search maybe the Talon Claw. I did not hang on to that. This is a photo of Lucy Ling, aka Lang Min, with Talon Claw. Yep. Okay. Anyway. Story about their school robot team, Team Talon Claw. It lists 3 student members and talks a bit about each of their history, including their interest in robotics. Ooh. And this is current, so like this person is the result of an affair. The only one that catches your attention is Lucy Ling. She grew up in China as Min Lang. That's going to be important, probably. But came to the U.S. Specifically to attend university. She says she grew up around factory-scale machines that assemble products that would be shipped all over the world, and that moving parts and automation fascinate her. However, as she has progressed through her major, she has become obsessed with smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as in the weapon. In addition to the robotics, she loves linguistics. One of her hobbies since coming to the States has been collecting accents. In her spare time, she practices not only removing any trace of her native inflection, but also quickly switching between multiple different regional accents. She feels her personality's her personal best is the Southern Belle, but her favorite is the Valley Girl due to its use in popular culture. Okay. So here's the thing. Because this is only ever mentioning a single person. And she's the daughter there. Her name is technically Min Lang. And she is a college student. You are the CEO of your company current. Wait, is that? I thought she sold it. No. That was the Australian person. Never mind. Your last name is Lang. You were... Right, I gotta double check this. Okay. Alright. So that leaves one last infidelity. And then all of this mess, which I'm sure is going to be like a freaking nightmare. Anyway. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed. On the YouTube side, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. And this is where I'm going to leave you, so have a good one. Alright, and the Twitch side, I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with this stuff. We did some pretty good work here. We got through a decent amount of some stuff over here on Miracle's side with this over here as well. So yeah, I put this here because like it didn't mention 2 kids, so like it made sense. And there was an actual kid. The Australian woman doesn't go here, so like yeah, but. I thought it mentioned her being unmarried, didn't it? But she has a kid. I guess it doesn't. It does mention that she was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. I'm just curious if this game will help you if you don't know what IVF is. Yeah, okay, it does. Medical procedure that allows a woman to give birth to a child that was initially created in a laboratory. Sometimes this can be referred to as test tube babies. Not necessarily need to give birth to a child developed from our own genetics. Sometimes, for example, a baby from an egg donor could be used. So essentially, her sister's kid isn't related, but how did this kid show up? As kind of the open question. That does mean that whoever you are, I'm gonna put your picture there because like, well, that's not on the YouTube side, so we'll hold off on that, but that's where I'm going to put it. Anyway, for the Twitch side, I do appreciate anyone who was hanging out as we went and did some deductions. And with it being the start of the week, I hope you have a wonderful start to your week. And I hope that you have a good evening or morning or whatever, which is why I generally just say, have a good one, and see you later.